Shalom, it's Izzy, your Hebrew teacher here, and this is Hebrew Chapters with Holy Language Institute. We are reading Genesis chapter 18 for this week's study. You can see here the Hebrew letters Yod, which is 10, and Chet, which is 8. So Yod Chet, 10, 8 is 18. This is the fourth parasha in the Torah. It's the fourth portion in the readings from the 5 books of Moses. And it is called Vayera. Vayera, after the very first word in the parsha. Let's take a moment to pray, and then we'll begin reading through this story word by word. Thank you, Elohim God, for this opportunity to read these ancient texts in an ancient language. Thank you that they still make sense today, that these stories are the stories of where we came from as a people, that they're still relevant. Thank you for who you are. I pray that you would show us something about yourself as we read about you and your interactions with human beings. Thanks too for the figure of Avraham, of Abraham in this story. Whether we be from the physical people of Israel or not, he is our forefather in the faith, and thanks for that. And also Sarah in this story is our great grandma in the faith. Thanks for that. Pray that you would help us as we read to learn quick, to retain the words that we learn, to have a cohesive understanding, to have a lot of fun in the process, and to derive some deeper meanings and applications also from whatever it is we're reading. Thank you for that. We invite your Ruach, your Spirit, to guide our study. Amen. So let's begin in the very first word here. If you haven't learned how to read Hebrew yet, I invite you to join me in the 40 Hebrew lessons of Hebrew Quest at holylanguage.com. And even if you haven't done those yet, you'll still get something out of this, but you'll get more out of this if you can read along with me. Vayera. The verbal root there is ra'a, and it means to see. Vayera means and was seen, or and appeared. Elav, to him. And then here we have who appeared, God. We have the Hebrew name of God here spelled Yod, He, Vav, He. Most Jewish people say Adonai when they encounter God's name. Adonai means my master, and is why most English translations today have the Lord instead of having God's name. Most scholars believe God's name was originally pronounced Yahweh, and if you read God's name as Yahweh in these studies, I invite you to do that. I'll just be reading it as Adonai here. So, Adonai appeared to him, ba Elone, read the next word also, Mamre. Mamre is the name of a place. And here we have Elone, which is the alons of. An alon is an oak or possibly a plane. The New American Standard translates this as the oaks of Mamre, and Art Scroll, which is a very high quality Jewish translation from a traditional Orthodox Jewish perspective, translates this as the plains of Mamre. So anyway, whether it be the plains or the oaks of Mamre, this is where Adonai appeared to him. Vehu, and he, Yoshev, literally is sitting, Petach, the verbal root to petach means to open something. So where we read here, Petach, that's an opening or a doorway of ha-ohel. An ohel is a tent. He's sitting in the doorway or the opening of the tent. Chom, this is actually 2 words, ka, like. Chom is the heat of. hayom, the day. So during that period of the day when it was the hottest is the time when this occurred. Vayisa, the root nasa means to lift. So vayisa, and he lifted. Einav, your ayin is your eye. Einav here is his eyes. Vayal, and he saw. Remember that verbal root? It's actually the one that this parsha, it's contained in the name of this parsha, the very first word also. Vayal, and he saw. Vahine, and look, behold. So, did you notice the Hebrew? It's repetition. It's rather poetic in Hebrew. And he lifted up his eyes, and he saw, and behold. So this expression here, and he lifted up his eyes, it could be viewed as something of an idiom for he looked. So he looked up, or he looked, and he saw, and behold. And behold, of course, it has like the sense of an exclamation like mark, like behold. Shlosha, 3. Anashim, and ish is a man. Anashim are men. Nitzavim, and the root there, it's not the typical word for standing. The typical word for standing is amad. This is netzav, and it means to like stand in the sense of stationing yourself. It's a little more of a like intentional or a fixed word. Alav, literally on him. They were standing on him. I think New American Standard translates that opposite him. Vayal, and he saw. Wait a minute, it already said that he saw. Did you notice that right here? Vayal vahine, and he saw, and behold, 3 men. Vayal, why does it say it again? The Art Scroll translates that this time as he perceived. He perceived something about these men. Vayaratz, and he ran. The root there, rutz, means to run. So he perceived, and therefore he ran. Li kratam. Root there, kara, in this context means to encounter or meet. So he ran to meet them. Me petach, from the opening of ha-ohel, the tent. Vayishtahu, the root there, shacha, means to get down low. So vayishtahu, and he bowed himself low, or prostrated himself. Altza. Eretz is land or ground, as you know. The a on the end indicates direction. So altza means he bowed himself towards the land, the ground. Vayomal, and he said. Right there, amal means to say. Adonai. Now here is something interesting. I already mentioned how when traditional Jewish people come across the name of God, they employ what's called a circumlocution, something that you say instead of kind of going around the name, so to speak. And that what's usually said is Adonai. Here we actually have the name Adonai written. And Adonai is a title of God, and he is called that throughout the Torah and then also the prophets. But here it's written as Adonai. And this is quite interesting. There's something called the emendations of the Soferim. The Soferim were the scribes, the ones who wrote Torah scrolls. And there's actually schools of them that were dedicated to accurately transmitting the Torah from generation to generation. And the Soferim at one point actually changed something around, I think it's around 120 or 30 places in the Torah where it had the name of God, and they wrote Adonai there instead. You can look it up for yourself. Just look up the emendations of the Soferim. It's common knowledge, and it's something that's known in the Jewish world also. And so originally this actually had the name of God, Yod He Vav He, and it was changed by the Soferim to say Adonai. I will leave you to surmise what the reasons may have been for writing Adonai here, what Avraham, instead of the name of God, which is originally what it says that Avraham addressed these people. by. Im na. Thanks for watching this trailer. To get this whole talk in audio or video format, go to holylanguage.com and subscribe. I'll see you there.